The PF, I mean, the UPND winning, we knew if we go the legal way, the way we went with the elections, it was obvious that they're going to win, unless you're just daft. It was unless you are eating with the PF, like you would try to pretend as if even the PF knew.
Yes.
Those that knew started hiding their properties, whatever, allegedly. Yes. So those that knew become quiet and they started hiding whatever they are accumulating. But everyone was in denial. It's one of those things where. Yes, it was too obvious. So he knew if I support these guys coming, then because even in Nigeria, he's tried back with prophet thing. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Kutika, the podcast. This is Owen, MT90. We are back. We are your favorites, in as much as we're forcing you to be your favorites. We are your favorites. Anyway, by now you should be aware, based on the news, that Seer1 has intentions of coming back to Zambia.
Yeah.
And if you are watching this episode, probably you know who Seer1 is, and the storyline is. Okay, this is not how much I know about Seer1. The fact that he was a prophet, is a Nigerian born, is a Nigerian. There's nothing born, whatever. He's a Nigerian. Even his papers are Nigerian. But he did most of his prominence, so he came to prominence in Zambia as a prophet. And he was here for years, and he was involved in a number of scandals, in as much as they can be regarded as rumors. But it turns out that those are the same rumors that got him deported out of Zambia. Do you know the year when he was deported, actually? But yeah, it should have been 2017 or if not 18. Around the time when Harikarawa was also resigning.
Yes, that is 2017.
Yes. So that time he was deported out of Zambia. His deportation was a little bit of scandalous. Even himself, he says he wasn't allowed to stand on the ground because it was believed he was going to disappear, whatever. So from wherever he was picked up, he never stepped on any Zambian ground until he got on the plane. So that was storyline. Do you know that period? He was very much inclined to the Patriotic Front.
Yeah. And
he thought he was immune in terms of no one could touch him, in as much as the number of scandals that he was involved in. There's an accusation to say he used to sleep with is it virgins?
Yes.
That's the way he made his power. All these are allegations no one has evidence of, but those are the stories that were given to say. So a concoction of all those stories, the immigration thought it is a high risk to the nation. Let's deport him. Deported him. He went quiet. He went to South Africa, right?
Yes. He
went to South Africa. He tried out his gig with the prophetic thing, but then that's when Bushiri was like the guy in South Africa. You can't mess around in terms of prophecies. There's even another Zambian. Is it Prophet Banda? I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah, Banda.
Whatever. Every one of them, Bushiri overshadowed them.
Yes.
Overshadowed
their followers.
Yes. So pretty much like the time Seer1 was moving out of Zambia, he was the biggest thing in Zambia in terms of making all the waves as a prophet, all these, I can walk on, pretty much all the stunts. In Zambia, Seer1 was the guy. But once Bushiri moved to South Africa, he became the guy. Whoever was there was under Bushiri. So on the time Seer1 was deported, he went to South Africa, and it never caught on. Like, yes, he tried. It was not the same. Like, when you're trying something, you can tell that, but it's not paying off.
Especially in Zambia, he was on that level.
He was the guy here. He was the guy here.
It became so frustrating and difficult for him.
Yes. So it did not make financial sense, obviously, because if you don't get the numbers with this gig, you don't get the money. That you can add one on one. When you're selling holy water, even if it's one kwacha, if you get 100,000 people to come and follow you in a day, and these guys have changed throughout the week. It's not as if it's Sunday or whatever. So if you're selling holy water for one kwacha every day, or maybe 100,000 kwacha a day, you see how much money it makes sense?
That's a lot.
Yes. So but if you're not getting the audience, the idea is to get that audience. People come, ladies come and faint and whatever. So that did not catch on. Bushiri was just dominating.
So one of my friends attended one of his church services.
The South African
No, in here. When he was meeting at Kamara ground.
Yes.
And it was packed. So in terms of offering, even if it's a one watch,
yes.
watch, And plus the selling of water.
And is it power? What's the other thing? Because what do you call it? Do as I say.
They
do as I say. You know, a combination of a number of products. Yeah. And they're doing that gig. It's not like a typical church. I know it's a Sunday service, one service. It's every day from, is it 12 hours to 18 hours? Every day you're running that gig, you know. So it was a good money-making venture. So South Africa pretty much never caught on. Then he stayed for all those years until 2020, when the Zambian election, the previous elections that we have were not ordinary in terms of Zambia. Yeah. Like the tension that we had in the previous election, it was so tense. So honestly, he's a smart guy, genuinely. In as much as you might say is that the brains are there, you can say, okay, he picked on, okay, Zambians have moved from the PF. Yes. You know, in Zambia, the way we are is that if something frustrates us, we'll tell you, hey. But if we see we're communicating and it's not getting through, we simply get quiet and wait for the action.
Yes.
So that's the stage it got to with the patriotic fund. You know, initially when it just started out, Zambia said, no, Mda, this guy is very... and then now the PF would send cadres. Like, so if you, for example, give an opinion, if you're sitting down, you're beaten. So people are like, hey, no. The power comes back to the ballot boy. So let me just go and vote, let me not give opinions. Yes. So now we had Seer1, because he was not in Zambia, he caught on the bandwagon. He came out as if, no, he's defending the Zambians and they are going against the PF. So a number of stands were pulled, no, all these guys are the one who gave them power, well, I want my power back. It became the most trending topic for a while. And pretty much he won a lot of people on his side. The people got on his side, whatever.
Yeah, so in terms of the giving of power, one thing that I know for sure, you know, Seer1 had a lot of money at that time. He was in Zambia.
Yes.
So he used to lend Kalova to these...
so it's credit, actually?
Yes, it's credit. A lot of them are borrowed from him. That's what he was demanding. I know of a guy who used to work under him, and yes, how those vehicles they used to show on Facebook page to say amen, you have your car, look at how many cars. Most of them were collateral backed.
From the people that had
yes, the people who were borrowing from me, they would leave the cars, surety, and those are the fleet of cars you used to see parked on his yard. So that's how powerful he became.
So it was a financial power, not just literally spiritual power?
So on the spiritual power, I don't know. Obviously, it was a combination of both. Yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much he had what you're saying, do as I say, where you could control people, they vote for you, whatever. Pretty much, you know, Zambia is like drama. And the Seer1 story was like the most dramatic because he was going for big dogs in terms of political power in Zambia. It's not as if it comes for some councillor there, I don't know. It's actually the president, the ministers, whatever, and then it tabulates every one of them. These guys got power from me, if they don't get power. It became a real life drama. Yeah, he was on all news platforms, doing Facebook Lives, pretty much. So he got that Zambian audience that he had built, reactivated on his platforms. Like pretty much when he goes live, you find that 30,000 people are watching, sometimes 30,000.
Yes,
every time.
30. So, you know, sometimes we'll say I'll be speaking around 22, and 30,000 people will be waiting.
Instantly. So he got that audience. But the fact that he was deported is regarded, he cannot fly back to Zambia. So my analysis is that the PF, I mean, the UPND winning, we knew if we go the legal way, the way we went with the elections, it was obvious that they're going to win, unless you're just daft. It was unless you are eating with the PF, like you would try to pretend as if even the PF knew. Those that knew started hiding their properties, whatever, allegedly. Yes. So those that knew become quiet and they started hiding whatever they had accumulated. But everyone was in denial. It's one of those things where
they were caught napping.
Yes, it was too obvious. So he knew if I support these guys coming, then because even in Nigeria, he's tried back his prophet thing. You know, when he
basically from the time he was deported, his love has always remained in Zambia.
His audience, even his audience.
Yes. So whenever he's preaching in whichever country, his reference point will always be Zambia.
That's why it kicked off, you know. The best album, the best hit. No, I used to make hits. You know, the first album, I was #1. So,
yeah.
So Zambia is like his first hit.
Yeah.
So now, because according to government documentation, he's deported. He cannot come back to Zambia, regardless of how he feels about it. Different people have different opinions, but because he had advocated for the new Dawn to come in, it's deported that no, he has announced he's coming back to Zambia in October or a day before our independence. So pretty much whatever gig that is going to do is going to be an overnight thing, crossing into our independence. And he said he's giving out the free, what you call it? Do as I say power to 100,000 people. It's going to be, it's a big comeback pretty much. Not only that, he's also announced to say he's got a Zambian child by a Zambian woman. Chipeko with a Tonga name in the middle of, obviously he's put some prophetic child, whatever names as they do. But in between all those names, there's a name called Chipeko, which is a Tonga name. So it's, I don't know if he's trying to appease them because the current president is Tonga. So I don't know if it's one way of appeasing them to say that. But here's my analysis. He's figured out that no, as long as he's regarded as a foreigner, even if he comes back to Zambia, the scandals will never end.
Yeah.
The gig that he plays out, scandals are part of that.
Yes.
But the only way you can secure is if you become a citizen. And the easiest way to become a citizen is, have a Zambian wife, you become neutralized, you become a permanent resident, and now. So now, kicking out the Zambian residents, a Zambian citizen. I'm like, hey yo, I'm a citizen. So that's his gig. So this time around, when he comes back to Zambia, it won't be as easy if he doesn't come to kick him out because he's going to work out his paperwork, become a Zambian citizen. But or you think he's just coming for a show and going back?
So basically, what I've noted, two things I'm going to examples that I'm going to give you. Nigerians are very good at research. So if you've seen most of his shows or his scripts on Facebook and these other platforms about Zambia, most of them might be true because he has invested so much in research. They're happening on social media, and also he's got a lot of people on the ground.
Yeah,
he helps a lot of these spiritual science.
So it's like a couch. Like they are so nothing you can tell them about.
And he used to pay them well, obviously, and obviously they still need that kind of glory they experienced during his reign. So obviously they are informing him about ministers. They are happening.
Just yesterday, the president put up
yes.
Pretty much first on his page, he has posted already, just a statement like it's very updated on everything.
Very much. so I think that is one of the things that as Zambians we also undermine research, so that you are able. But so even some of the prophecies were as a result of research. So once you research, and this is one of the things that made also TB Joshua to be popular. Those people they used to call as
wise men.
Those guys were proper researchers. So they would read BBC, read almost all the tabloids to see what is happening in Ukraine, and in those guys would even dot the history
of that country.
Yes, the country and all that. You remember before TB Joshua died, he prophesied the Ukraine-Russia war.
Yes.
So basically, it's through research. They would tell him to say, basically, this
is building up.
Yes, it will come to pass. So I think those are some of the prophecies that are made.
That are still catching up.
Yes. So I think let's not for that. If we don't read on our own, we don't research on our own, these prophets and those people who are good with research, they'll always rule over us as Zambians.
So the person with no information rules the ignorant.
Basically. So that's what is happening here. So if this new government falls for some of those prophecies that are seemingly to be accurate, they might even align themselves with him and bend the Zambian law just to accommodate the deportation issues and
because everything is still unless something has been resolved
and bring him back. So I think those are some of the things they shouldn't fall for. And obviously with the money that he made and the sons that he's got around, he's got a bit of muscle. If allowed in the country, he can always try and buy some freedom here and there.
Yes. Now, once he gets back here, it's a different ballgame. He's learned his lesson. Pretty much, the last 5 years have been just like his life has been on pause. Like in terms of impact, whatever. Aside, if Bushiri was not deported from South Africa, or if he did not ride from South Africa,
yes.
In terms of impact after TB Joshua, it was definitely Bushiri that would have been the guy.
Yes.
So his gig is that he knows like he's got the Zambian audience, and because Zambia is very religious, it's a Christian nation and whatever we say we are. He knows if he gets this audience, it's easy to manipulate it. I mean, and multiply it anywhere else. So that's his gig. Once he gets back here, getting him out.
And especially if that gig he has announced if it's going to be allowed to be the Zambian soil, and with I think it's going to be a big thing.
Because I don't understand so.
Yes.
Flying in the air, walking, and everything in one night. A movie.
And obviously, once he makes one-off money like that, he becomes so powerful, and obviously with such kind of an audience, it gives him buying power now to start talking to
politicians move to whoever's the audience.
Yes.
So the fact that he's always controlling an audience, politicians will easily because their survival is based on the numbers.
Yes.
I mean, if you don't have the numbers, you can't be in state house. If you don't have the numbers, you can't be a minister or whatever. So because they need those numbers, and whoever has that audience, they will drop in as well. Come on, talk. I mean, but I need friendships of convenience or relationships that are.
Let's trade off. I need your numbers. Believe your behavior is.
I don't agree with your behavior, but I mean, you've got the audience that we need.
Yeah.
So that's where we stand with Seer1. I think the new Don should be careful because he acknowledges it. He said, I hated the current president.
Yes.
And the only reason that he fell out of love is because he was deported. Yes. If the PF had kept him, there was no way that he was going to align. Yeah. So you should be smart enough to read to say, okay, he only aligned because this happened to him.
Yeah, and one of the things that I've seen, and even if most Zambians shoot the Minister of Religious, they did their homework in terms of research and trying to allow sound doctrine to be spread around Zambia. I think during the PF regime, even prior the introduction of the religious minister, we saw a number of false prophets getting a lot of wrong doctrines and sleeping around with young girls and all that because of issues to do with a lot of people not getting jobs, a lot of people not getting married. So they pretty much capitalized on it and tried to do a lot of wrong things. I think that ministry came to clean up that environment, and we also saw a lot of people who were failing in school in terms of mathematics and all. The easiest route was just to open a church and open become a papa and all that. So there were a lot of people who were misled.
So there was some good that came out of that Ministry of Religious Affairs.
A lot. You know, one thing that I can tell you is, in as much as we overlook the importance of a church in society, it shapes models. It helps. You know, if people left without churches and without being guided and without being preached to, we can become a world society. We can do all sorts of things. So I think that ministry came to speak into that and bring sanity around that. So I think if Seer1 comes back, if the new government pays a blind eye on the church environment and how it's
the society is going to be just toxic now.
Yes. Especially there's already an accusation that they are paying a blind eye to the gay issues and all that.
Yeah, because the embassy seem to all of a sudden got I mean, it's not as if this is when this LGBT whatever thing has come out. We know these countries where they come from, they advocate for that. But the fact that this country is very clear on the point to say this is what we stand for. You can't do this. But all of a sudden, how do every one of them is flying a flag?
Yes, previous governments never did that.
Yeah,
they respected the.
That's why that accusation about the president being a puppet. Now, he made a statement, I'm not a puppet about the, because it was clear.
Yes, it was.
The opposition capitalized off it, like, yo, this is not the first time, we know what they stand for, where they come from.
Yes.
But when they come to Zambia, they adjust their programs to. That's the same reason we even deported the American ambassador. You remember?
Yes. Yeah. You know when
he made a statement. Imagine we deported an ambassador but now the embassies are flying flags
and nothing is being said about it. So even the Seer1 issue and other these papas that we refused entry. You remember Albert Angel, the spiritual father to Bushiri, yes, yeah.
You also deported at the airport also.
Yes. So
every one of them is going to try to come to Zambia, but let's go.
Yeah, we have a lot of unsound doctrines and we might be misled.
So do you think this is going to be the yardstick where the EPND is assessed from? Because you know, the PF is trying to capitalize that no, it's a cult, whatever. So they are using that LGBT advocates to say no, they are puppets of the West. And not only that, now even them allowing these papas that were kicked out. Do you see? Because Zambians are very religious.
Yes,
you know,
yes, we are.
So there are certain things that you don't play with. A lot of that LGBT thing and also the
Christian nation
thing. Yes. So once you start mixing those things, you can easily fall out of favor with Zambians.
Yeah. So one of the things that I saw is I think even the current leadership and the president know to say Zambians are religious people, and I think you saw the first 2 months when he got voted into power. He tried by all means to hold church with different denominations and state house, just to emphasize to say, I'm also a Christian, I'm part of you. But obviously those 3 days of meeting should be consistent. We are also going to see on maybe the day of prayer, the fasting, is he scrapping it off? What plans has he got for that day? And also there is a synagogue of All Nation. Is it the synagogue of cathedral
that's along Cairo,
not Cairo, the one that they are building for all the denomination for.
Yes,
what are they calling it? House of Prayer.
Yes, House of Prayer.
Yeah, I think they are calling it
House of
Prayer. Synagogue. Yeah, championed by Bishop Yes, so I think all those are some of the things we are going to look at to say, how is it treating, and all these prophets that we deported on allegations that they have got issues where they are coming from and all that. So if we see all those things
playing back,
yeah, then I think it will be a very big damage in their face.
Anyway, we wait and see. We would like to pick your minds, you guys. What do you think? Are you for Seer1 coming back? Not only Seer1, you but Angel, you mentioned there are certain prophets that are banned in Zambia. They wouldn't land here, and their paperwork is still reflecting. In as much as we've got a new government, I'm not aware of Seer1 being cleared, unless you are aware of some news where he was cleared back to. So the fact that he was deported, how can you start organizing a gig when your record is like? Anyway, we don't know what it is, but this will be a yardstick to test whether we still stand on the same moral grounds as a nation, or certain things have changed. But as Owen has said, there are certain things Zambians keep quiet about, but those 2 issues are not one of them. They can ignore a lot of things. You know, we're very conservative nation and very chilled, like we are not very apprehensive. But there are certain things that trigger Zambians. So those 2 topics, or those 2 particular things, are very triggering for Zambians. So
very much. So not even just Zambia, even in the US. Do you know that in the US, if you are not a Christian, you stand a chance of losing elections?
If you are any religion.
That is a secular nation, but every president that stands needs to incline himself. You saw the Obama issue when he was Muslim and what he quickly denounced the Islamic part and aligned.
So in as much as we are wild and whatever, they are saying things that they...
Yes, they are also very strict. Any president needs to be Christian for you to go through. Yes.
Similarly here. So we wait and see how it plays out for the UPND. Leave your thoughts. Are you for these guys coming back to Zambia? I know Prophet Lumumba was cleared back. So maybe he was also cleared because Patrice Lumumba was also deported. You know, like Prophet.
Professor, yes,
yeah. So maybe a bunch of them were cleared. It might be
no, for Lumumba, I think the deportation
was it a risk to a nation?
He was just banned entry. They just returned him back.
Not that he was banned from coming to Zambia.
No, yes, I think.
Close it off. Leave your comments in the comment section and share the video with someone who want to hear. Do you see Bushiri and any of those guys coming back? Are you for it or not?